What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rams Brothers, the pod. I'm your host, Dean, and I'm joined by the other host of this show, Nick, my brother, Nick. We're getting ready for the NFC Championship game. How are you today?
Dean, I feel pretty good. It's NFC Championship week. Last time we were here, like 4 or 5 years ago, we won. I feel like this team could even be better than that team, on the same level, and I think the Niners are just due for a reckoning.
I mean, everything that the story kind of tells itself. It tells itself, right? I mean, this entire season, the way that it's been set up for the NFC Championship game, the roller coaster that they've been through on their 3-game losing streak, their 5-game winning streak, the ebbs and flows of Matthew Stafford, of Sean McVay, all the emotion that has come along with this season's all coming down to this Sunday. And I couldn't be more excited just to kind of see it all come to fruition because I feel like they have a really good opportunity to win the game, right? To put together a solid game plan in all 3 phases, to come out to figure out what they made mistakes in the first 2 games, and to really just kind of capitalize on the opportunities that I think are going to present themselves in this game. So how do you feel just in general, just right now, just gut feeling? How are you sitting right now?
Gut feeling, I know that they're the better team.
Mhm.
They're certainly hotter than the 49ers. I think Nick Wright was on some show saying that Travis Kelce has more touchdown throws than Jimmy G in this postseason. Um, and I don't think that Shanahan's in his head. I think the Rams schemed up a better game last week. Ended up stopping them on the field goal too. In overtime, or not last week, week 18. You know what I'm talking
Right.
about.
I know. Yep.
Um, it just happened that one of our defensive callers went down and then allowed them to drive down the field. But I don't think this Rams team is. This is their easiest opponent yet,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Exactly.
and and you face them in the NFC Championship, and I think it's a team that you beat 15 times out of 16 in a postseason,
Yeah.
regular season. And I think I think Rams fans are going to show up more this time. So I don't think it's going to be 100 80% Niners fans.
No, yeah, no. I think you're going to get a combination of more Rams fans. I think you're going to get better energy in the stadium. And like I said, just kind of a compilation of, mistakes they made in the first 2 games. If you could capitalize on some of those things in this game early on, if you can kind of flip some of the things on Shanahan's head like they did in the first half of the second game, I think they're going to put themselves in a solid spot. Just don't get too ahead of yourself. Don't get too emotional, right? You know kind of what's at stake and you know what you're playing for. If you can kind of just settle into your own and keep the game within your hands, I think this team is going to be fine. But I think there are 3 very important moments in time. Here we go back this season, right? We spent time in July going through the Flying Coach podcast where McVay was on with Shanahan, and we chopped that up, right? We wanted to make sure that we understood everything that Sean McVay had to say in relation to his mentor and his boss of 3 years in Kyle Shanahan. We also wanted to go back to the first game and the second game of this season because the first time that the Rams saw the 49ers this year, we talked about this in our last episode when we previewed and post game in the 49ers the second week. It was immediately after the Tennessee Titans game, so they kind of put out a blueprint. Plus, Odell Beckham Jr., Von Miller were still getting used to the beautiful California sun. So what did the 49ers, what they did in that game, they had the ball for 40 total minutes. They ran the ball 44 times for 10 rushing first downs. They were perfect in the first half on 3rd down conversions because they were constantly in 3rd and manageable. Kind of what the 49ers have liked to do throughout this year, how they've been able to eke out wins throughout the season. Average 3.5 yards per carry, nothing crazy. Jimmy G threw the ball 19 times for a record-breaking time like it was a damn hot potato, just getting the ball out of his hands as quickly as he could. Same thing that we saw in the second week, right? The Rams were coming off of 5 straight wins. They had us fooled in the first half. Not going to lie. I was gushing over Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford's first half, and rightfully so. Sean McVay was emotional. He was going crazy on the sidelines. And it just so happened to piss off the entire San Francisco 49ers sideline as well at the same time. And it wasn't just the offense that had us feeling good in the second game where we played the 49ers. A'Shawn Robinson had forced a fumble that knocked them backwards. The defense held them to 88 yards total in the first half. Right? Brandon Powell had a long return that set up a Tyler Higbee touchdown. Like all 3 phases came to play in the first half of this game, and they were lethal up until the final drive in the first half, where they were in a 3rd and 2 inches, and McVay put Stafford in an empty to take a sack. San Francisco's final drive before that half, 61 of their 88 yards came just on that drive alone. And the whole script flipped from there. It's like these massive momentum swings are just a really big part of San Francisco's identity. You saw it in the Packers game, and it feels like it lights a fire under them to see other teams, get off to a good start, to feel like they're comfortable in their own environment. Like, see the Packers game, see the Week 18 game, they get off on that stuff. So that's just what you're going to kind of have to monitor, right? It's those 3 moments in time.
I'm
Shanahan,
fine.
McVay, the relationship, these 2 games.
I'm fine if they let us off to go like a good start, and then we just don't take the gas off the pedal. Something about that 3rd and inches that kind of like rings true in my brain is we had that exact same setup last week against the Bucs, 3rd and inches. The only difference is we had Cam Akers out there this time, and we didn't when we played them Week 18. And Stafford ditches off a little pass. Cam Akers breaks like a tackle or 2 and gets the first down.
Yep.
So you have to think that with like that little like a little bit more in his arsenal that Sean McVay has with Cam Akers. Like I don't want to throw that 3rd and inches empty play out. I think like San Francisco knows what they're gonna do when you show that. They're gonna want to blitz because that's what they did last time. So don't make it a long developing play. Just get the yardage. And that's what they did with that Cam Akers play. So I think there's Cam can kind of open up the playbook a little more. And I think he may be the key to shutting these guys out. Now he has to hold on to the football, which is something that he hasn't been able, that he didn't capitalize, really didn't do a good job last week. But I think that's just going to humble him and make him even more aware about it.
Yeah, I mean, the first game we talked about Odell Beckham Jr. and Von Miller, the emotions that were tied to that. The next game we played them, Cam Akers was coming back from an emotional debut, right? The Achilles injury, he was going to debut himself in the offense in some kind of limited fashion. I think he only had 5 or 6 carries in that game. But they weren't able to.
Yeah, he was on a snap count.
He was on a pitch count. So you didn't see a full impact from Cam Akers in this game, but it's a good segue, Nick, because there's a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about in this episode, just about the similarities between Shanahan and McVay, how they like to call their offenses, and how Cam Akers could potentially be a game breaker if he's able to hold on to the football. But we talked about the relationship between Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay, Nick, and please chime in when you have an opinion here. But we went all the way back to July. Peter Schrager, Sean McVay, co-hosts, and Shanahan, once he came on, they decided to chop it up. They were talking about Matthew Stafford, how that trade went down in Cabo, right? Shanahan's opinions on all that. I just remember it being, and you could correct me if I'm wrong here, but it was just the oddest interview, right? I mean, it was considering them being the ultimate rivals back then and how they're even bigger rivals now. You knew that they would be, fighting towards the end of this season against one another. You knew they would have 2 matchups against one another again this season, like they do every year, right? McVay seemed to remember, and you probably remember talking about this back in July. He remembered all of their plays. He remembered all their formations. He remembered exactly how every play was executed, specifically who was executing the big play in big moments, not even in Rams games, in just big moments in San Francisco games throughout the years, right? I think there's something to be said about Kyle Shanahan just being McVay's boss for 3 years and taking the same kind of core concepts with them as they've kind of branched off in different directions, but essentially kind of translating them into different offenses holistically, right? One that's going to use Cam Akers as their primary ball carrier. The other is going to use Deebo Samuel, Kyle Juszczyk, Brandon Ayuk, Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson Jr., whoever else they can get off the scrap heap, different personnel groupings to change the looks on defense and to get linebackers off their spot, right? So I think that's where the outside zone, the wide outside zone that Shanahan and McVay have both had in their arsenal all this time, you combine that with the West Coast passing game that Jimmy G has mastered, right? 8 passes in the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. Just
8 passes, that's it.
Yeah, there were 8 times in the NFC
Championship game. That's the only thing that worries me is that stat can be true and they can still win that NFC Championship game handsomely because of the kind of schemes and the creative runs that they have out there and the players like Kittle and Deebo, and then punch you in the face defense like Bosa.
Yeah.
So like they play old school style football, and this Rams is very new and flashy. So it is a good matchup, and it's why it's been this way for the last couple of years. It certainly, I don't think I'm not as worried as I was earlier in the week. I just think the Rams are just so much better. Truly, I just think they are like they as a full unit become a better team, and they have been getting hot at the right time, which is also important. I need like it's hard to say the 49ers are hot, right? Like
they are though.
Well, think about it. They let Dallas come all the way back in that game. Dallas has, they should have had 1 second for a final play.
That's true. Yeah.
To beat them, and then
the
only reason that they beat Green Bay is because they get a blocked field goal and a blocked punt, which I don't think either of those two things have happened together in a playoff game before.
Not in the second half of a divisional round playoff game.
Yeah. So I wouldn't call them hot. Jimmy G has no touchdowns. He got them to the red zone so they could kick 6 points. And I think the Rams kind of know that.
Yeah, I think they do. I think they do too.
If you can stop them on offense, like there is no limit to what you can imagine.
I knew you were going to say that. I think it's the difference with Shanahan too, right? Again, at its core, it's very similar, but the outside zone scheme with a handful of different looks and personnel groupings, it keeps the Rams defense extremely honest, right? And I think that's the difference, right? It's the personnel, the ability to utilize that personnel, go in different groupings and keep us honest at all times in the game, because it's the advantage that over pursuing linebackers get when you're an offensive coordinator, you're calling plays. You can get linebackers to just over pursue and try to blitz in lanes where the running back's not going, right? These outside zone schemes everybody's running holistically in one shot to open up one huge lane for the running back, right? So essentially, if there's another lane that opens up, the linebacker shoots the wrong lane, there's another hole that's going to open up for that running back. So again, schematically, Kyle Shanahan I think he's just taken that to the next level. And again, it opens up the play action passing game, the West Coast passing game, which I think he's a little bit better at. And then again, getting defenders in the middle of the field off their spot so that the 49ers are really good at catching and running yards after the catch in the middle of the field. So I think the key to this game for Sean McVay is flipping some of that shit on Shanahan's head, right? These Shanahan tendencies in key situations, what they did in the first half of the last game, which I was so enamored with, right? Heavy personnel, extra blockers, 2 tight ends. Cooper Kupp never lined up in the same spot on 2 straight plays. Kendall Blanton lined up as fullback, right? Switch up the personnel groupings because the Rams have the depth to be able to do so and keep their offense guessing, or keep their defense guessing, rather. It's been missing, I feel like, in the first 2 matchups throughout the entirety of the game. And eventually what happens is it leads to a late game turnover because there's something forced in the passing game because they can't run. And they showed a commitment to it last week. But if they're going to win this game, you have to be able to show a commitment to the run, hold on to the ball, and put teams away with different personnel groupings while keeping the defense guessing. And Sean McVay has the ability to do that. He came from this. This is what he knows how to do. It's just in certain situations, it seems like Shanahan has the upper hand. And it's so frustrating for Rams fans because it feels like once they get there, there's always one guy that has an upper hand in one situation, whether it's you're signing somebody to go film the coaches or film the sideline practices, or Kyle Shanahan, who's a mentor, has been in his head and just knows a little bit more about football than Sean McVay does.
Yeah, so I don't know.
That's where the frustration comes.
I don't know if he's essentially in his head.
He's got to be a little bit, man. Of course, he's going to say no. He's not.
I think some things get blown out of proportion. I don't care how many times you beat me in basketball or whatever, or Mario baseball or anything. You will never ever be in my head. No, never. It's impossible.
You're lying to yourself.
No, I'm not. I will always be able to beat you, and I know that I will. No, because then I'll come back and then I'll beat you 6 times in a row. It doesn't matter. And I think this is the true way McVay can say, hey, beat us when it matters, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we will be able to say, which will just be fantastic. But yeah, no, I don't think he's in his head. I really don't. I think it comes down to the way that the team plays when they're playing these Niners, because at least last week they caused a really bad time of the season post Tennessee. Or I keep saying last week. Week 18, when we saw them, the Rams put together a magnificent 4 quarters of football up until the very end. And then in overtime, I just think playoff Stafford, listen to me, guys. I can't believe I would ever say this. I think playoff Stafford makes that Odell throw. Because he's just like, he is poised in the pocket. He's just looked freaking outstanding in this postseason so far. And I think it's elevated him now to the point where, he's making better decisions and he's making better throws.
Yeah,
so,
he is.
And you know what? If you throw that same play with Cup will make a play on that ball. So
could be true. I when it comes to Matthew Stafford versus Jimmy Garoppolo, like, where you have the upper hand there. Like, there's no questions being asked. I think when you look at, Kyle Shanahan versus Sean McVay, I think in terms of personnel groupings, the 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, the amount of times they run that versus what the 49ers have been able to do out of 11 personnel, switching it up. There's got to be some kind of predictability, right? I think one of the things that I feel like I have an edge over you sometimes when we're playing video games or we're playing basketball, I know which direction you're going to go in, or I know where you're going to throw the pitch, right? So there's got to be some form of predictability that's happening with Sean McVay, because he also knows Kyle Shanahan's tendencies too. So if you think he's going to lean more one way towards a personnel grouping, or you can sniff something out ahead of time, you want to be able to have that advantage. And I think because you have the upper hand at quarterback, because you have the upper hand at skill positions, you're going to be able to come away in this game with a win potentially. And something that I just saw on Twitter from Sosa, right? This is Sosa Kremenjas. This is Sean McVay's second chance to become the youngest head coach ever to win a Super Bowl. Like, this is the year where they've written their own story. They've allowed San Francisco to play in this game. They allowed them in week 18 to win the game, and now they've potentially knocked out the opponent that everybody thought was going to knock out the Rams in this postseason, in the Green Bay Packers, right? The Rams got to go to Lambeau Field and get the job done. Now you're hosting the Niners at home. It's a different story.
Just last year when they lose the Packers, Rodgers goes, man, got to get one of these games in Green Bay. It's a different environment out here, blah, blah, blah. And then, you get the bye and you get to play in Green Bay and you lose. That's who I was terrified of. Now I feel like, the sky's the limit.
I feel the same way. I do. And I think there's
everything could, like, the fact that we lost to the Niners could have been exactly what we needed to. Now we use that to beat them. Now use all of that juju and everything that 6-0 over us last 3 years. Use that to just destroy them. Now you have a real chance to own the NFC West. You play 2 NFC West teams in the playoffs. You have to take down the GOAT. Like, the story couldn't be written. Like, it's so magnificent, and I just want them to capitalize on it so bad, because I know that they can and that they're capable of it.
Well, good. I feel the same way. Let's focus on some positive things as we get ready for this weekend, because we kind of alluded to some of them, but we'll elaborate on a couple of them here.
All right. Well, before we get back to talking about the team, I just want to give a couple shout outs to some contest winners.
Yeah, please do.
So we have at TTMDF1. You get a mug, or not a mug, a water bottle. C White 25, you're getting a water bottle, and then my boy Donnie Von Sloten, Devon Sloten, you're also getting a water bottle. Thanks for participating, everybody, in the contest. Everybody else, I'm sorry, they were just the first 3 to do it. I only have so many water bottles. And also check this out, little courtesy of the LAFB network locker room, really dope Ramsey mug that got here just in time.
It's pretty damn cool. So yeah, how about we give away a Ramsey mug in this episode?
All right, yeah. Do you want to give them something to do, or you want to just like give it away to somebody?
Well, you got to give them a hashtag.
Yeah,
you're the best at that.
I like how the hashtag usually doesn't relate to anything Rams related. How about we do Hashtag just for good old times, we'll do hashtag King K rule.
That's perfect.
Hashtag sloppy mess. So it's King K rule. Hashtag King K rule. Hashtag sloppy mess. Boom. First one to do that. You got a beautiful Jalen Ramsey mug, and it's really a great mug.
It is a good mug. You still have the sticker on the bottom too. You can tell it's brand new.
Yeah, it says Vespi on the sticker, so I don't want to take it off.
Oh, that's pretty cool. All right. So positivity. You're drinking out of your Rams mug. We got some good juju with the giveaways. We're getting closer with fans. Unfortunately, we can't give away tickets, but we will try to give away water bottles and mugs and shirts and whatever we can, because that's
and I almost gave away tickets. I'm actually working Sunday, Dean. I don't know if you can believe this. They need me at Gray's Salon.
I've heard
hospital in Seattle. But they know, everybody there knows, and they have a TV set up right off of set, so I'm going to be full gear. I'll be able to watch. I won't be able to sip on my Golden Road Brewery beer. But I know that if the Rams win, I will be chugging a bunch of it. Golden Road Brewery, our official beer sponsor. And obviously, they produce the incredible Whose House, Rams House Blonde Ale.
Well done. Well done. So still positivity. We're not giving away tickets. But, Nick, if you do come across tickets and you can give them away, we'll keep you guys in the loop. Send us a DM. We'll put out a tweet where tickets become available. But, we'll see as that unfolds. Back to the positivity, as we're keeping that the main narrative as we go into the NFC Championship, as it should be. This team has given us plenty of reason to stay positive. Cam Akers, we talked about this already, wasn't at full speed. His debut was emotional when it happened 3 weeks ago, but that's in the past. It's time for redemption. In their first matchup against the 49ers, 52 yards on the ground in the game, mostly Darrell Henderson, a little bit of Sony Michel, 64 yards in game 2. Sony Michel, a little bit of Cam Akers. It's not enough. You can scheme up a run game that puts their second and third level tacklers in body bags. That's got to be the mantra. That's the mentality. That's the positivity we're getting out of the run group this week. Thomas Henderson, the coach of the running backs. Let's scheme up a run game. We need that. We need our offensive line coach to scheme up a Kevin Carberry and Zach Cromer. Come together and put together something that's unique and that's going to put them on their ass. Quarterback, Matthew Stafford. Couldn't talk about him enough. It just feels as if right now he's playing the best football he's ever played in his life. It just feels very much so that way. I mean, go back and watch Kurt Warner's study ball on Matthew Stafford. I think he put it out yesterday or 2 days ago. The man is processing information so quickly based on one single hitch by a defensive back, one hip turn by a safety, one step in the wrong direction by an inside linebacker, and he's making you pay. And it's all about just taking what the defense gives to him. It's about learning from the film. We talked about this over the last 3-4 weeks, taking off with your legs, staying on a turnover-free trajectory and winning the game. He's by far the best quarterback in this game. And you could also make the argument, him and Mahomes, those two, and Joe Burrow, right? And is the dude from Buffalo, Josh Allen, right there. They could be the face of the league next year as we transition into this next phase, right? So you want to kind of continue to monitor this stuff, but I think he's playing with next level smarts that's going to be able to contradict some of the blitz packages if they throw any of that at us, or if they just hold back on the blitz. All in all, if he can just sit there and pick through the defense, that'll be something that works in our favor. And then Aaron Donald, Nick, and I want you to comment on this too. Raheem Morris has been very vocal about how Aaron Donald, how special he is, right? Calling him the best player he's ever been around on either side of the ball, right? He's coming out for blood. He was playing with torn rib cartilage last postseason, and he's come out and said, there is no way we lose this game. And I believe him. I really do. What do you have to say about AD?
This has been going around Twitter, all the images of him last year after they lost in Green Bay, and you cut to the side and he's crying, and that he wasn't able to be on the field as long as he was like this postseason and every other postseason he's been a part of. He was injured. So the fact that he's out there the entire time this year, and I love that everybody's rallying around him to get, for his legacy. This guy deserves Super Bowl rings. He is the best player I've ever watched. I just think overall, I'd like, obviously Tom Brady's Tom Brady, but I think Aaron Donald has a chance to cement himself as just the GOAT. He is a freak of nature. And I just love that everybody, it's a team full of a lot of people that have maybe been considered like not really divas, but just like, very
Right.
opinionated and
Yeah.
like loud. And you have a team full of these guys, and just to rally around Aaron Donald, it feels special. It feels important. LA knows how important this guy is and how key he is. He has been to St. Louis Rams success and LA Rams success.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just can't wait. I can't wait to watch this game. I've been thinking about it all week,
I
and
know,
the
me
fact
too.
that he's guaranteeing a win makes me want to just hammer the Rams.
And it's not just him, right? It's the complimentary play of Von Miller and the personality and
Yeah, it's like
the vocal leadership and them coming together and like so quickly. I mean, this all happened in 2.5 months.
you
They
have
just come in.
Gaines, who is like been coming out of nowhere, Von Miller coming off the edge, and then you have Aaron Donald. So it's like one of those guys is going to hit you. You know what I mean? Even
Yep.
Tom Brady, who got the ball out in like record numbers, forced fumble, plenty of sacks.
Yep.
I just don't think Jimmy really has a chance, and I think they're cocky, this Niners team. And I don't think they really deserve to be. I mean, maybe on some level, yeah, they're in the NFC Championship. They were a wild card, but
They're cocky though because they get these massive momentum swings. It comes out of nowhere. They it's a blocked kick, a blocked punt, an inopportune turnover, something that just magically goes their way. We have the opportunity in this game to be the momentum swinger, right? Teams in the NFC Championship that typically, they win when they win the game, they typically get some help from their special teams unit and not the other way around. The special teams unit doesn't make mistakes. And I think the trio of Hecker and Matt Gay and Brandon Powell, they need to be close to perfect in this game. But I have to say, and I pray to God I don't have to eat my words here, but I've never had more faith in a special teams unit going into an NFC Championship game in the history of my Rams fandom. Hot take, potentially, but I think a game breaker like Brandon Powell, who wants to touch the ball and score, is a guy who could open this game wide open.
Yeah, for sure. The fossil 2018 unit with the sneaks and the all the momentum swings that brought us with those. I'm pretty sure there's a sneak in the NFC Championship, or maybe it was the first time they played the Saints.
There was a fake. There was some kind of fake, I think, at the NFC.
No, I think it was like the first thing that got the momentum started. It was like, yeah.
I think you're right. Actually, I think it was early on in the game.
I loved that unit. Obviously, Greg the Leg sends us to the Super Bowl. That was awesome. But this, I was so confused why Kupp was back there to receive one punt, but then they kicked it out. They kicked it out of the end zone. So I love Powell. That he just finds a way to break off like 20 yards, and it's just like, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, in that second game, they played the Niners. He had a 31-yard return that set up that Tyler Higbee touchdown. They scored so quickly, and it's little bursts like that after you get a fumble that's recovered by the Niners, or they're pushed back in their own territory, or they're in 3rd and long and they can't convert. Those little bursts of energy, those momentum swings, we can get a couple of them even early on in this game, and we'll be in a good spot. So how to defend SoFi Stadium, right? This isn't just from a Rams fandom perspective, because if you're a Rams fan, you're going to this game, you're going to have to be screaming your head off. If you're standing or if you're in seats, you're just going to have to be going nuts. But it's going to be tricky because the 49ers, they're not going to blitz a ton, right? They rank 29th in blitz percentage this season. They may not blitz at all in this game.
Yeah, I mean when you look at Stafford's numbers under the blitz, I don't know why you would.
There's no reason to. I mean, D'Amico Ryans and the 49ers defense, like you said, extremely aware of how successful Matthew Stafford has been against the blitz. I legitimately expect them to rush 3 or 4 at all times and drop 7 or 8 into coverage, right? 1 high safety, 2 underneath zones to prevent and reroute any of those crossers that the Rams receivers like to run, the slants, right? The Patriots use this drop 8 play a ton throughout the season. It forces Matthew Stafford to be decisive, to make up his mind in real time in the second level, to make plays, to diagnose mismatches in real time. And the thing is, that's going to be a difficult position for him to be in, because it's the hardest position for a quarterback to be in ever. But, he's doing that as well as anybody right now. And if you think about it, we have a quarterback that's able to counter the blitz. So if they do bring pressure, it's not something we always have had in the past. If he can dice you up a little bit when they're bringing pressure, or even when they're not, just by sound decision-making and being able to commit to the run game and play action, they're going to be okay. I really do. I think from an offensive standpoint, what the 49ers are going to try to do, and I think what everybody's been calling out on social media and has written articles about, is they're going to try to expose the middle of the field. I mean, that's what they do, and it's the only thing that they can do. Right? I think they're going to try and redirect our linebackers in the run game and get them off of their spot on passing downs. But if you know that the middle of the field is going to get a ton of action and that's their tendency, what would stop the Rams from rushing 4 and dropping 7 in coverage, or rushing 3 and dropping 8 in coverage? Like, what should stop them from flipping the game plan on their head? Our pass rush is elite, right? You have the right tackle, Tom Compton. Trent Williams might not be playing in this game, or he might not be at full strength, but he was destroyed by Rashawn Gary last week, and Miller and Floyd 3 weeks ago, right? I've watched reps on this Rams team where they've sent 5, including Troy Reeder, and Troy Reeder's still getting off of his block. He's still standing there trying to navigate through traffic, and Von Miller already has Jimmy Garoppolo on the ground. Rush 4, win with 4, contain the middle of the field, and our defense is going to be just fine.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think you have to kind of give them the middle of the field a little bit. In order,
you can bait them. You can a little bit.
And just like beat them in the small ball, beat them in the running, beat them on the sides. Don't let Jimmy get comfortable back there. And I think I think there's just a real shot where this game could get ugly fast. The over under right now sits at 45, and I feel like that's a Niners line. Because you would think under 45 the Niners win.
Yep.
But I think it's, we'll get in the next picks in a minute, but I think it's going to be a little more dicey than that. So
yeah, I mean, it's again, if the middle of the field is open though, and that's going to be something that they're going to allow us to dice up the Rams defense a little bit earlier on. If you could make sound tackles, right? Little things, fundamental things, making tackles in the second level, third level. Nick Scott playing above his ability, right? Eric Weddle, 2 players that weren't really around in the last time that they played each other. And San Francisco 49er fans are looking at it like, oh, the Rams don't have their 2 starting safeties. Meanwhile, we feel like we could potentially have not quite an upgrade, right? I don't feel like Eric Weddle is by any means better than Jordan Fuller. But at the same time, Nick Scott's playing really good football. And if Weddle's a signal caller and he's a thumper and he's laying hits on people like Debo and who did he hit? He hit Mike Evans so hard at the end of one play last week, almost knocked him out of the game. Like, that's the kind of stuff you want from this defense. And sound tackling, second level tackling, and preventing the middle of the field and getting home with 3 or 4, we're going to be fine. I have confidence in this team. I have confidence in Aaron Donald. I bought in, I've invested, and it's going to come to fruition on Sunday. I feel it. I agree.
Playoff beards are flying in. I feel good. Got to keep it for 3 more weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm ready for next picks. I'm going to take a sip of coffee.
You ready to hop over? Yeah, let's do it. Nice, cool, bland mug out of you, Dean. White mug.
I wore the same sweatshirt now 2 episodes in a row. This is just who I am, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, you have to change it up.
What do you want from me?
I want you to grab one of these mugs, and I want you to give one away this week.
Fine, I will.
Hashtag King K Roll. Hashtag sloppy mess. I wonder if somebody.
You don't have to hashtag sloppy mess.
No, you do. You do.
I'm gonna pick the winner.
Yeah, you have to do both. Hashtag King K Roll. Hashtag sloppy mess. And tag Dean. Don't tag me. Just tag Dean. I guess it doesn't matter. You can tag.
I'm gonna mute that conversation. Just as a heads up.
He's the king of the Gronk sloppy mess. All right, so let's get into the next picks. All right,
let's do it.
So Cincinnati Bengals, Kansas City Chiefs. Do you know what the line is, Dean? You want to guess the line?
5.5.
See, now, I like that you said that because the line's actually +7.
Oh.
And it makes me want to hammer the Bengals at +7 at +100. I don't think anybody really thinks that they deserve to be here. They're not a good enough team. It's like, give them a couple of years. Joe Burrow is magic, but they really didn't play that good of a game last week. They kind of just really played a safe game, got a lot of field goals, and they allowed the Titans to implode, right? Game starts off with a pick. If there's a playoff game that starts off with a pick, and it's Matthew Stafford, I think I'm just like hurtling a ball.
All right. Don't put that in the
next 45. But no, I'm just saying like the Bengals had it really easy.
Right.
To kind of win against a 1 seed. Maybe.
Thanks.
Yeah. First time ever I've seen a 1 seed crumble like that. And then you watch it again in like an hour, which was crazy. But look, Cincinnati +7 at +100, 100 to 100. Boom, lock, put it in.
Fine.
Bengals beat the Chiefs earlier this year by 4 points. I don't think the Bengals win. I don't want to put it past them because I know that they can. This Chiefs team, they're the Chiefs. They have Patrick Mahomes. They have Travis Kelce. They have Tyreek Hill. Their secondary can be so picked apart and just torn up. They allowed a touchdown with 13 seconds left, and Patrick Mahomes said, fine, I'll do it myself. Like, I don't know if this Bengals defense is better than the Bills. They're probably not. I mean, I do know, like, on paper, it says that they're far less superior. But I think a shootout is kind of more of how it will likely go.
Yeah.
And I just think +7 is too many points to give to a team in an AFC Championship game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 14 points was too much to give to the Rams in the Super Bowl in 2001. Sometimes these lines are a little erratic.
14 is like the worst Super Bowl line ever.
I agree.
Because the wild card Giants were +14.5.
Yeah.
Twice.
Scary.
Twice.
The terrifying line.
Yeah.
I thought the one thing that was cool about Mahomes, and this is the reason why I think the Chiefs are going to cover the spread. I saw that stat from SportsCenter where his heart rate was actually lower when he was on the field winning the game versus when he was on the sideline watching the game. That quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, is cold. And I think that Andy Reid likes to get to 4 straight AFC championships rather, and then lose the Super Bowl, as he did when we were younger with the Eagles, went to 4 straight, won all 4 NFC championships, and then lost the Super Bowl in the final year. Or I'm sorry, lost 3 NFC championships, won the Super Bowl, or went to the Super Bowl in his final year and lost. So similarities, history could be repeating itself a little bit, but I still like Mahomes and the Chiefs to win the game.
Yeah, no, I like them too. I just like the win margin to be 1-6.
Yeah, fair.
And then Rams Niners over 45.5 because I think that's a Niners line. I think if the Rams win, it's like maybe like 28 to like 20.
I'll take that score. You're going to go a little Shannon Sharp and give us an actual score prediction. Did you hear him the other day? It was like 30-27 before the game started. It's going to end with Pro Bowl kicker Matt Gay.
And yeah, that was crazy. That was
weird.
That was perfect. And then I'm going to throw money on Rams money line just because it's -180 and the Chiefs money line is -365. I think everybody and their mom's going to have a Chiefs Rams parlay, so I'm not going to do it. So I like Bengals +7, over 45.5 in the Rams game, and and then -180 Rams money line.
Cool.
Just put them all in.
I'm taking your picks.
Yeah, the playoffs are not our friend on Nick's picks. We did so good in the regular season, and the playoffs were like sneaking away with like 1 or 2 wins. But hey, I'm happy either way because the Rams are winning.
If the Rams are winning,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't care if my bets lose. I just want the Rams to win. I have so much more invested in that.
We've always talked about if the Rams go back to like 2-14, 2-15 times, that we would just change this to a degenerate gambling podcast. But could never do that.
Just call me Uncle Nick, like Cousin Sal.
Yeah, the Rams are just too good right now. It's like all the betting, right? If I get like a little $10 free bet or a $50 free bet just from playing last week, like I'll probably throw some action maybe as Sunday comes around, but I can't even think about that. I've just been like trying to marinate in all the thoughts throughout this entire week and put together something sound in this podcast because there's so many different moving pieces. There's so many variables between McVay, Shanahan, between Stafford, Garoppolo, right? I just think the story couldn't have been written any better. I think to be able to knock out the team that potentially had the highest likelihood of beating us, that they did. The Niners knocked out the Packers last week, and to be able to host at home and then to be able to potentially do it again in the Super Bowl at home, like this is the story, I feel like. And this is the team that has invested everything, that went all in, and for it to be potentially be able to pay off just to be able to get back there, it's going to be a really good feeling.
Yeah, for sure. I just I have faith this week. I think they're the far superior team. And I think they just have a chance just to really stick it to the Niners, which would just be amazing. And then you go out and then you buy the NFC West merch, because then you really own the NFC West.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh yeah, well this game will lead to a win. Will lead to plenty of merch. Absolutely. There's too much good stuff going on with this squad, and I feel like the season's just
I just feel like it's not over, man. I really don't think it's over. Part of me is happy that I'm working because I was such a wreck last week all day leading up to the game. And this whole week, it has just been in the forefront of my mind. So I'm just happy I'm not going to be able to just think about it all day. And I'm going to be, actually at work doing stuff. So
I have faith. Have faith. Like we've said, this is there's a reason why that loss happened in week 18. There is a reason. It's part of the story. It's a chapter, and it's one you breeze past and you get to the ending. And the ending is
King K. Rule is on our side, baby.
Yes, sir.
Play the music.
All right, maybe we do a little 10-minute, 15-minute preview Saturday, Sunday if we have some time. Maybe if Jim Everett wants to join us, Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Isaac Bruce.
You're doing a lot of name dropping only for it to probably be our dad.
You're right. It'll be me, you, and him.
What happened to Dad? I thought he was going to do an episode this week with us.
He will. This weekend, maybe. 10-minute popper. All right.
It's really funny when we do an episode with him and then people tweet at me and they're like, I don't know who's talking. I can't tell. You all sound the same.
I was watching a podcast with, I think it's Congsworth's son as well. I think he was on with Rodney Harrison. Same exact voice, same exact face. It's like his younger son. He's probably similar age to us. And it's just how it rolls, bro.
Do they both say, here's a guy?
Yeah, they have the same. I'll send it to you. They've got the same voice. But good stuff. Ramley is strong. Shout out to Kara Henderson. Shout out to Kelly Stafford. Shout out to everybody who has been linking up tickets. For everybody else, this Ramley, this unit, I feel like everybody's kind of uniting, coming together. It's a special thing. It's fun to be a part of. So we want to thank all you guys for your effort. You guys are relentless. Let's put it that way.
Oh, and I keep forgetting this because people keep asking me. The intro, because we have some new fans, the intro is sung by Elton John, like no bullspit. It's actually him. And then the outro is King K. Rool's theme from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So the first season of this show was just a whole different monster. We were just loopy. We were just having like a lot of fun. Not that we don't have fun now. We have tons of fun. But it's just like we just didn't really have any kind of like script or anything. We just were just going nuts. And Dean used to do Elton John impressions, and it was like it was hilarious. And it was the 2018 season where it was like, oh, we're in the Super Bowl somehow.
You don't remember the Elton John impression, Nick?
It was like Scottish for some reason. I interviewed Elton John, and Dean was like, "It's me. I'm Elton."
I think the thing is, we talked about positivity in this episode. I think it's just a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of stress throughout the season, but like when you get to this point, you can have a little bit of fun. You get yourself excited. You turn all of that negative energy into something good, and out comes an Elton John impression.
I just want to buy one of those white jerseys, Super Bowl logo.
Oh, dude, you're driving me nuts.
Number 9.
Well, you know what player I'd get, and you know what player I'd be repping proudly if he's got
10?
that patch. Number 9.
Oh, that's what I said. I would get 3 then. I would get 3.
You get Odell. Love it. And somebody's got to give Von Miller.
Mm.
Oh, it's good stuff. All right, we're getting too excited. Let's cut us out. All right, yeah. Wrap it up. Turn it off.
Wrap it up.
Turn it off. All right, guys.
Turn off the camera, Pete. Our camera guy, Pete.
Talk to you soon. Yeah, Pete, take it easy, dude. All right, guys. Peace.